Today I want to talk about the seven Hermetic Principles. If you never heard about them, Google Hermes Trismegistus, three times the master, and his book, the Kybalion, because to me it is the basis of everything. I thought the seven Hermetic Principles were the rules and laws for everything in my life. And then I saw in a meditation, I was shown something that then we can argue that I was shown because I believe it, or I saw it because I believe it, because since all the information is always coming through us, I don't know what came first. But yes, I was shown in a meditation that that's the constant in the universe. They showed me like this fixed um, vertical line of light that they call the seven Hermetic Principles. And they said those are the seven laws that is the basis of the universe. Not the all the galaxies and everything, no, of our life, our universe as 3D people incarnated here now. Those are the rules by how we play the game we agree to come here play. Okay, so maybe when we die and we're not incarnated and we go to another planet, that's not the game anymore. It's not the seven Hermetic Principles. But while we are 3D Earth, those are the basic fundamental principles. So what they showed me, I'm going to go over the seven principles here. But what they showed me was like this fixed strand of light that were the principles, and then everybody else like little atoms of energy. They always show like specks of light and something like that, like it was millions and millions of little specks of lights. That is all humanity around it. And the way we orbit the principles, we go away from it, we come back close to it. We're floating around it really close to the center. We're going far, we're going down, we're going up. And what they told me in the meditation when they showed me that is that it doesn't matter what you do, it doesn't matter the experiences, it's always balanced out by the principles. So it doesn't matter if you try to get away from it, you will come back to it someday. It doesn't matter if you're too close, you might move away later in life. It's like the flow of how close and how you apply them, it doesn't matter. And your experiences, in a sense, it doesn't matter, because as long as you're living experiences, you're feeding and keeping the universe alive. And we'll talk about that. That was a different meditation, a different vision that I'll talk about later. But the seven principles, let's cover them. The first one is mentalism, is all is mind. The universe is mind, because everything began as an idea. Everything in our world begins from an idea. It can be downloaded, it can be from the collective, it can be your own, it doesn't matter. Everything to be manifested in reality, in physicality, it started off as a prototype, as an idea. Second is the law of correspondence. As above, so below. As within, so without. Everything in the universe has it's always a correspondence. So we are a living organism in Gaia, like a little bacteria is a living organism in our body, the same way Gaia is a living organism in our planetary system. So you can keep going smaller, smaller, smaller in your zoom, or bigger, bigger, and bigger in your zoom, and you're going to see that the structures, they mirror each other. So that's why it's correspondence. You always going to have the same structure, organization in different levels. Even the way our cells are organized, they have a system, that structure that could have been mirrored to your body. So that's correspondence. Third, everything is vibration because our universe is based in energy. Everything is energy. I love that I heard a podcast yesterday with my husband, and he said that how God created the universe is he sang a lullaby. It was the first lullaby, and I love that image because I also heard that that's something I believe the Rosicrucian teach, that we all have our own harmony because we are frequency, and the organization that puts our physical body or any object, this microphone, it has its own it has its own vibration, but it's not only a vibration, because a vibration you can think of waves of sound and frequency, and that has a combination of it that would be like a symphony, like a harmony. So we all have that our own unique signature of frequency, and that's what establishes that all these atoms are supposed to be together and make Trisha, or make a microphone, or make the cell phone where I am recording. But we see it physically, but it's all vibration, it's all energetic, the code, the frequency, how we communicate, how we see everything that we have are is vibrational. Fourth, polarity. Everything is dual, everything has poles. So the idea is that energetically speaking, you always going to have, Abraham Hicks say that you always have the two end of the sticks. So our reality, truly, if you boil it all down, is divided in everything is decided based either on love or fear. So love and fear are the same stick, you just have different ends to it, and based on the where you are on the stick, you're leaning towards more love or more fear, but you're always going to have the same energy, always going to have both polarities, positive and negative. That's part of our duality. And then I'll skip to the seventh and I'll come back to the others, because the seventh is called gender, because they say everything has masculine and feminine energy. Everything has both. So a woman has masculine and feminine energy, and a man has masculine and feminine energy. But to me, that's totally connected to polarity, because you always going to have the duality, is the yin and yang. For you to have balance, you always going to have both. So there's nobody who is 100% good and nobody that is 100% evil. And that's the complexity and the simplicity of this life, which is beautiful, that we have so many layers, and every good person has had bad thoughts and could and has the potential of doing evil things, the same way evil people have the potential in them for good. So you always have both active at the same time. And that's the paradox of life. And that's when you start embracing neutrality, that everything is both at the same time. Because when you're in the same stick, you can experience more one than the other, but you cannot detach them. They're always connected and the same. So let's go back to five. Rhythm. Everything flows in and out, has tides, cycles. So there is a rhythm. What we may see as chaotic is not. Everything in our universe is orchestrated. So it has a coordination and everything is perfect. You're never at the wrong place at the wrong time. Everything is always perfected with the flow, and everything has a cadence, and this is something of our nature. And again, by the correspondence, you can see that in nature when you go back to seasons, when you see how animals behave, and we see ourselves in nature, we recognize our own patterns and flows. And six, because I jumped to seven and I came back. Cause and effect. So, cause and effect, I think, is the most common that everybody thinks because of karma. You reap what you sow. everything you do is going to have uh, a, a correspondence, a consequence of what you did. Everything has that. That's the most common that everybody knows. Another thing about correspondence, because when I was saying that, I remembered that I have to say is that everything that you experience in one end of the polarity will come back to the other end of the polarity in the same intensity. And that's part of the rhythm too. So when you have extremes, too happy, you are bound to eventually have a moment of too sad, because the nature always tries to balance itself. So that's the beauty of the thing, and that's why people talk about meditation and being zen and trying to center, because the more you swing your pendulum of emotions and experiences, the more it's going to swing back. So, the idea of keeping yourself closer to the center of every stick of your life is what keeps you the most stable. But what is the fun in that? And that's why I liked when they show the axis, and it doesn't matter if you go away and you come back, if you're close, if you're going down, if you're going up, it doesn't make a difference, because the important thing is to have the experience. The ultimate goal we have here is to live experiences, enrich the Akashic records with information, and expand the universe through our experiences. And that I'm going to leave the cliffhanger here for the next video, that I'm going to talk about how that is the battery that supports the entire universe. Hope you enjoyed. And if you like, follow the channel and drop your comment here, and let's discuss more.